Hello, my name is Giselle Toll. This is going to be my week 4 exam video on human evolution. I have all the questions right here. Yeah, there's 10 questions, so let's go ahead and get started. The first question is, what is the gradual adaptation model? The gradual adaptation model was basically Darwin's idea that speciation and differentiation of a species occurred over a gradual time period, and it was kind of like a slow moving process. It wasn't something that really happened instantly. Question 2, what is the punctuated equilibrium model? The punctuated equilibrium model was kind of adapted in 1972, and it was the idea that evolution and speciation didn't happen gradually, didn't happen over this long period of time, but it actually happened fairly quickly and happened quite fast. Question 3, which model of evolution did Darwin propose? Darwin proposed the gradual adaptation model. Question 4, what was puzzling to Darwin about his model of evolution? So basically in the gradual adaptation model, he believed that there would be fossil records that would kind of show us over this big time period where the difference in speciation would occur, and that we would be able to see it in fossil records. But what was puzzling to him was that we couldn't see it in these fossil records, and that kind of went into the punctuated equilibrium model, which kind of is like why there's no fossil records, is because it did actually happen fairly quick and fast and not over this long period of time that Darwin thought. I believe both of the model ideas are kind of right, and then it kind of varies, but that's what he was puzzled, was because there wasn't fossil record. Question 5, describe 3 important milestones in human evolution. So the first one was 6 million years ago, humans began walking bipedally. They used to walk on all fours, but then we made the transition to walking on 2 feet. This allowed us to become faster, more aggressive predators, I would say. Second was 2.6 million years ago, and this was the idea that humans started using tools, the dawn of technology. And it was basically that we started using and making tools, and it really kind of opened us up to the world of innovation and invention, which is fascinating. And then the third kind of key turning point, what I kind of put 2 and 2 together when I think about it, but 800,000 years ago was when we mastered fire, which then led to brain growth, a big increase in brain growth. And basically this happened because we were able to master fire, we were able to cook over the fire. And once we were able to cook over the fire, this changed our diets, which hand in hand led to brain growth. And then I did some further research, and I also saw that it shrank our gut, shrank our jaw. It really, mastering fire was a very big evolution change for the human species. Question 6, what is the significance for when Homo sapiens mastered fire? Basically, I already just answered that, but once we mastered fire, I think the biggest thing was that it changed our diets, and it allowed for bigger brains and just a new kind of wave of human. Question 7, what is admixture? Admixture is basically when there are different gene pools that were initially mixing, but then they ended up mixing and interbreeding. And an example of this is what you pointed out in class, which was, over the lecture video, was that the Neanderthals and humans, long ago, when they interbred with each other, were still able to see Neanderthal genes and kind of proof that they did breed together through white genes and Asian genes, which is really fascinating. Question 8, describe some of the spatial pathways in which humans got to where they are. So basically, it all started in Africa, haplogroup 1, or I think they call it L0. there's so many, so I apologize if I'm wrong, but basically it started in Central Africa 100,000 years ago, and from Central Africa they migrated to Arabia in the Middle East 800,000 years ago, and then from Arabia they went kind of down into Asia and some of the Pacific islands like Australia, which is where they start kind of branching off into the different like haplogroups. But yeah, so from Africa to the Middle East to Pacific Island, Asia, and then from there they were able to go across the Americas, which is so fascinating because they were doing this all on foot, which is crazy to migrate across all these continents, just on foot. It's pretty fascinating. But yeah. Question 9, how were those movement pathways revealed by scientists? Basically by like ancient DNA records, ancient fossils, and then like modern day DNA records. They were able to kind of map out like the spread of genes and exactly like where genes were able to originate from, which is pretty fascinating. Question 10, why are so many haplogroups of humans in different parts of the world have not turned into different species? Basically because it's kind of like I like to associate it with allopatric speciation. It's the opposite. It's because we were intermixing so much and there was so much diversity of migration and so many different groups going one way and another way, and we were just going everywhere across the world, that there wasn't really this like isolated part or like this geographical barrier that would bound one human to this one area that would allow for different speciation. And because there was just so much mixing and migrating is basically why there isn't exact different species of humans, I guess, or why the haplogroups didn't kind of turn into their own species, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think that was it. I hope that covered everything, and yeah, I will see you next video.